Greetings and peace. I hope you and yours are doing well today, wherever you might be watching this from. Now, the title for today's video will be the spiritual and Masonic significance of being at the crossroads. Now, I was inspired to make this video based on the book I read, The Crossroads by F.A. Aitken-Smith, and I really enjoyed this book because this book it's a moderate read, and I highly recommend it. And this book basically puts us in the shoes of Flick, a girl named Frances who had lost her mother, and she lived with her father, and she always saw the world basically outside of the box. And the author is putting us in the shoes of Flick. That Flick could be you, it could be me, it could be anyone, because those that are walking that spiritual path are often scrutinized. How Flick was, where her own father dropped her off at at an institution to get institutionalized, because everyone thinks that you're crazy when you talk about these subjects, or you break outside of the norm on different things. So Flick shows us the power of who we really are as human beings, how our story has been written for the ages, and how Shakespeare also says that this world is a stage and we're all actors, and we all have our parts to play in the grand scheme of things, and it's what we do for each other and for ourselves is what matters most. And my favorite characters in there being Fox and TNT and the other characters in there that teach you that love is always the answer. And that's what Flick ends up discovering in the end. She wanted to fulfill her vision of being initiated into the Great Pyramid Chambers of Egypt and being able to communicate with her mother, even though she was physically not on the earth. But that energy of us being one is what is being expressed in this book. Now, in the Sufi aspect, from what I come from, we said that God or Allah is one, Ahad, and Ahad means that we're part of that reality, you're part of that reality, we're all just basically one entity. There's no really separation of any kind of different races, religions, groups, philosophies, or us being like separate bodies and having different spirits or souls. We're all basically one entity experiencing this reality together through the eyes of that divinity. And we're all part of that source. We all come from that source, and we shall all return to it. How another thing, and in my culture, when someone passes away, we say that to him we belong and to him we shall return, because that's the ultimate reality. And we're here just to walk each other home and to love one another and guide each other and not fall into traps of fear or chaos or any kind of disunity that sets us apart from each other. It's like the first part of the book where Flick describes that you'll have banks that are laundering lots of drug money, billions of it every year, but that will be the same bank that will call you 10 or 15 times a day if you overdraft on something. So she shows you the way that the strange way that this world works, and how everything just comes at a crossroads in life, just like how you have the white and black tiles of masonry as well. And you have to amplify that in yourself, where I realize that, okay, I know there will be good times in my life, I know there will be bad times in my life, but I must keep my heart strong and my mind open and my eyes open to know that all those experiences were not a coincidence, and they were there to shape me to be who I am today. And that's what Flick is teaching us in this book, through the perspective of the author, is that don't let any good or bad moments define who you are totally, because we all have our roles to play. As long as I know who I am, what I stand for, and what I need to do, that ultimately will determine my predestined outcome, and our thinking and our knowing and doing, which will project that into the future. And that's what she teaches us in this book. Eventually, when you do get to that end, and she found her peace, Flick found her peace, And eventually we find our peace too, because we are that character. Masonically speaking, you have order out of chaos. You'll have bad moments in your life that will be, come to cause chaos and confusion, but ultimately that was there for a reason, like the black tile, or the black lodge point of view. So it takes you back to that, white tile and white lodge point of view. You need both, because one cannot exist without the other. It's a balance. Like Neo and Agent Smith, or Batman and the Joker, one cannot exist without the other. Because if only one existed, then the other would not have a purpose, or vice versa. So we're in this life where we've been told what to believe and how to believe and how to live and how to follow the system, or you just pay your bills, be a good citizen, don't question anything, just obey whatever is told to you, and not to think outside of the box. And those that do they are referred to as crazy. I've been in those shoes before, so I can relate to being in Flick's shoes, where people would say, you need to go to the madhouse, or what are you talking about, we don't understand you. Because you see the reality of this universe and this world, to know that we are all one. Just like how you see the fractals, and you realize that everything is kind of an illusion, a dream within a dream, where you realize that life is a dream, or God is holding the world in the palm of his hands. It's all a wisp, a thought, or a dream that we are all experiencing. Even all the religious scriptures, whichever ones that you read, the divine always refers to itself as we, because it's us. We are that collective consciousness experiencing this reality together. And it's about us making sure that we discover who we are, and not fall into those traps by the forces of darkness that want to keep the human family separate. Because if I go down the street, I see different families of different races and religions living together. They all have the same hopes and dreams. They all have the same tears, laughters, heartbreaks, enjoyments. They all want the same things for their families and their kids, just like anyone else. But then, once that illusion of separation comes in, that's when you'll have those that will try to profit off of the chaos. And we have to focus on returning to that source together. If I know that anything that's destined for me in my life will always be there for me, then why should I worry about anybody plotting against me or conspiring against me? If I know that whatever I'm meant to do, I'm going to do it. Wherever I'm meant to go, I'm going to go. Whoever I'm meant to deal with or help or come across, that will happen. No matter who or what stands in my way, no matter how powerful they are. It's about finding that calmness and love within yourself. And how at the end, when Flake realizes the truth about what is reality and the love that her mother shared for her, and that it was her job to spread that love onwards to humanity, how she did with her, friends, the friends that she ended up making at the in-house, such as Fox and TNT and all of the Lord and the other characters that are in this book. They're all in a representation of people that we come across when we become spiritually awoke. It will be those people. You'll have random masters that will pop up in your life, or random friends that come because your energy attracted them, their energy attracted to you, and you were meant to interact with each other. How, from a Sufi point of view, we believe that once your heart awakens, like the 4 chambers of the heart, and the 7 stations of the soul and the 7 chakras, then your body and your physical being sends off a signal to alert the masters that are in your area, so they become aware of your presence, that you have kind of pierced through the veil. And that's what Flick teaches us. The author, from the character's point of view, is that could be any of us. Once we see the reality for what it is, we might go through a period of depression, or think that why is this world working the way that it does? Why does evil exist? Why does this happen? Why doesn't God do anything about anything? Because collectively, it's us to change this reality. Because even in all the scriptures, they all teach you is that God won't help you unless you help yourselves. So you have to help yourself. It's the people that collectively have to decide to work together and be on the same page and help each other and uplift the destiny of their peoples and their countries and their governments or whatever issues that face them, because you are that physical temple. And if I project that internal frequency of my temple to the external world, then I can manifest what I want. And if enough people do that, then you can manifest a new reality. And as we see from March 2020, ever since March 2020, not just America, but this whole world hasn't been the same, because I believe, from what I learned putting myself in Flick's shoes and what I learned myself through my own spiritual journey, is that people collectively around the world have had enough. And you have the virus. That's the the case or the story of why everything is happening. But I believe the spiritual changes are being forced to take place because the people collectively in every single country and nation have kind of had enough, because their religious leaders are not representing them properly, their political leaders are not representing them properly, they're not honoring the will of the people. People want basic education, food, healthcare, the basic decency and life to live. That's what people want. People don't want wars and political issues and issues that are about divide and conquer and keeping people against each other, and then the tax money that they work hard for with their blood, sweat, and tears, working 12 hours a day, where $100 or $150 of your check is being sent to the government, and they're not doing the things that you want done, then eventually that collective frustration is going to build across the world, and something will manifest that will cause it, to cause everything to come to a standstill. It could be in the excuse of a war or a virus or anything else, like when something breaks out on your face because you're not taking care of it. It will force you to address the issue. So right now, humanity is being forced to address the issues of its institutions and, the issues of inequality. All those things are coming to a standstill because we know that collectively we are all one. So why not we start acting like it? And I am very grateful for the opportunity, and not just for the opportunity to read and share the love and teachings of this book, but also to relate it to, the journey of Freemasonry and the spiritual significance about, the average person who's following their own spiritual path, that you gotta hang in there, and you can't let anybody run you out or deviate you away from who you are and what you're meant to do. And that's the main core message of this book, is that love is always the answer. Always choose love, not fear. And that's what will help us find the things that we're supposed to do in this life and make sure that we leave this life fulfilled for whatever our next phase is. Whatever the next phase that our soul or spirit is destined to be in. Use this time wisely. Don't waste this time. If there's somebody that you need to make up with, tomorrow's not promised to any of us. Please pick up the phone and call them and be the better person and have that love in your life and have that love for each other, because that's what will ultimately get us to the destiny that we're supposed to be in as human beings, from our fallen state that we're in to the higher state that we originally came from. We need to get back to that, and we need to do what's right always, and not give up hope, because right now I see a lot of hopelessness in society, and I tell them, as long as you know who you are and you stand firm in your heart, what you're meant to do and whatever it is that you were sent here to do, then you should have an unshakable faith. How, as Masons, we're always taught to put our trust in God, and even in the spiritual aspect of what the author teaches in this book, it's about putting our trust in each other and putting our trust in that divinity that exists, that it's universal and omnipresent and is around each and every one of us. That will be the source that will guide us home. It's love. Love is what awakens that reality, not fear. Anything that causes disunity or fear is ungodly and not meant to help the human race. So I hope you enjoyed what I had to offer, and to summarize what I learned from this beautiful book. And I highly recommend checking it out and supporting this great author for the message that she is sharing, that is very needed for today's world. And I hope these lessons we can apply to our lives so we can become better in our dealings with ourselves, our families, our neighbors, our friends, our brothers, our sisters, wherever life puts you. Be the best you and represent the best you, because anyone can say anything, even me, but it's about how I represent myself with my actions is how others will be able to learn from me. If I'm presenting certain identities of being a Sufi Muslim or being a Mason, and if I'm not acting according to those values, then the person will not take those ethics and values seriously. So you have to be the example always in your knowing and your doing and your thinking. So my love to all of you and your families, and I wish you a beautiful, beautiful rest of July and rest of summer ahead. Thank you so much.